Hello and welcome back to Novacraft. This is episode 7, and I mentioned in the last episode that we upgraded the game version to 1.16, which means the nether resets, a whole bunch of new biomes and everything. So we're going to go down there and check it out, but our main goal is to grab some blaze rods. The new nether really is kind of hard to traverse. I mean, there is some open area if you have an elytra to fly around, but it's just pure lava down there. Right now, we can't really do much other than walk around, and even if you do walk around, you get stuck on these new soul sand biomes where you walk real slow. So it's kind of annoying to traverse. Even with an elytra, it gets kind of crowded to fly around. But it is cool. They added a lot of new features, and you can find gold in these things now. Here's a basalt delta, and very cool looking, but definitely very hard to navigate. I mean, you've got little pools of magma everywhere, and well, actually this looks relatively flat. It's usually really jagged and hard to just walk around. Didn't take too long to find our first nether fortress though, and there's a blaze spawner right there. And it looks like another one over here, so we're in pretty good shape. And we should be able to collect some blaze rods pretty easily. The reason we wanted these blaze rods is to make these brewing stands. It takes 1 blaze rod and 3 cobblestones. The brewing stands are the station of choice to make clerics, and clerics are what we're going to use for our next building, our next village that we want to train up. We made up 4 clerics here, and as you can see, they have some fairly useful trades. The entry-level trade here is to get some redstone dust, which means we don't have to mine for that anymore. You also have lapis, which mainly is used for enchanting, which not really doing too much of that, but we can at least use it for dyes or something like that, so we don't need to mine for that either. Glowstone, which is pretty cool. We can finally get a new light source instead of using torches and lanterns for everything. And this guy doesn't have it, but this guy does. Ender pearls. And we need these ender pearls in order to make Eyes of Ender, I think they're called. Eye of Enders? Eyes of Ender? Whatever it is. And that's going to help us find a stronghold, which we can get to the end from. Let's start working on where we're going to house all these clerics. I have a pretty good idea, and I want to put the new structure right on top here. Build a little pathway from our main area right up here. I don't know exactly what I want to do. I just know that I want to make a church of some sort. And it's probably going to be decently big. And I try not to make it too huge. But I think we need an entryway. Let's see, one to go this way, and then have that maybe about this big. Maybe a little bit bigger. And I want that to expand out then into the rest of the church. I'm going to actually build out the inside a little bit first. And I know we want... Oops, that's not right. Some pews. Something like this, just a couple rows of pews, and then that'll go into the altar. That's going to be something like this. So this is the general layout we're going to use. We have a small little vestibule running into the main part of the church, a couple rows of pews, and then we have the altar. I've decided that we need some carpets. I want to use the double carpet trick to kind of keep some of these villagers in place. Basically how it works is that... oops, went too far there. If we have a carpet, you put another one on top like that, and if you do that in all the directions around a villager, they will not be able to move. They think they're just going to fall off. So basically, if I put a villager here and I block this area off so that he can't get there, and I will, I'm probably going to add some sort of table or something here, he'll get confused and he'll just lock in here. We can also use this base right here to put his workstation down and then cover it up so that he'll be able to access it, but it won't even be visible. So that's going to be the general plan, but I'm going to need some carpet so I can fill this entire thing up. Oh, and one more advantage using carpets is that they cover up light sources, but they let them through. So, for example, we have this new glowstone. We can drop that down. And now it's covered up, we don't see it, but the light level I'm standing on it is 14, so it's plenty bright enough to prevent mobs from spawning. So this is how it's going to work. We're going to have one guy standing right here as a greeter, and before we actually put him in there, we'll put a carpet down right there. And then we'll have the other three up on the altar here. One at the pulpit, one hanging out right behind the table, whatever it's called, and then one just sitting right in front of the chair. I'm not really sure what to do next. I mean, I know that I want to use this stripped birch as one of the build elements here, and again some more dark oak. Maybe some stained glass in these three walls, and I think I want higher, more steeper roofing. So I'll give that a shot, but I'm not totally sure how I want it to look. It's coming together a little more. I've got some of the walls in, some stained glass in there, and I know that I want some sort of bell tower, but it's kind of getting to the point where it's hard to figure out what to do next. I'm starting to feel just a little burnt out on this project. I don't really have a good idea of what I want to do after this point. Like, going in, I kind of knew what I wanted the inside to look like. I wanted to have this church where we had a bunch of different of these clerics who, I don't know, look like they're in regular operating spots for the church. But now that I've kind of got this constructed, I'm having trouble piecing together the rest. And I know we just need a roof like this and how to extend that this way, but I started trying to make a roof over here and I don't really like the way it looks too much, so I might pause on this one and come back later. Just kind of wait for inspiration to strike, I suppose. And in the meantime, I thought, well, maybe I can just move in the clerics and they'll make it functional. But there's an open sky above, and I'm worried that when there's a thunderstorm, lightning can come down and strike them and turn them into witches. Then, you know, if I'm not around, they'll despawn, and that's the end of that. And they'll be gone. And that got me thinking. Maybe lightning is how we lost those two librarians over there. Alright, so we're in a creative world here, and this is kind of the general setup we have. So if we spawn a villager in there, and then we summon in a lightning bolt, just close, yeah, there you go. And you see he turns into a witch. I don't think he's going to go ahead and attack anybody else. So we would lose them, you know? We can't convert them back into a villager after that. And eventually, after a few minutes, they'll despawn. Just to kind of illustrate this point a little further, let's assume lightning is going to hit this carpet right here. That's location 3967. And then I've placed carpets in up 3 block radius from each direction out. We don't need all these guys. No, we'll just fill in some of these corners just to really show the whole point. I'm not going to fill in every single last block. That might be a little overkill. But then if we go ahead and summon in lightning, what did I say that was 3967? So summon lightning 49. Turns everybody in a 3-block radius into witches and no further than that. Now, let me get rid of these. I know you might be thinking like, well, in the library, they're in a building, you know, they've got a wall in between them. Shouldn't that be protecting them from the lightning? And we can test that out too. In fact, let me set that up real quick. We've got a really depressing room here. We're gonna make the lightning strike right there. I think the coordinates are 39103. We'll find out for sure. And if we just spawn a little villager in there, give him a roof to his head, so he's totally enclosed. Summon in our lightning bolts. 39.4. And you see it strike right there. Now if you pop this open, he's a witch. So it doesn't matter if they're enclosed or they have a wall or anything between them. If they're within 3 blocks of where lightning can strike, they're toast. So bringing this back to our Minecraft world, that means that all of these librarians are vulnerable. If we look at them, this guy is standing on that honey block, which he's got only a 2-block buffer to the outside right here, where there's full access to the sky. I'm guessing what happened was lightning must have struck probably right around there, and it would have gotten both of these guys turned into witches. The scary thing is that all of these guys are vulnerable, and so are all of our cartographers. They're right along the wall too, with only a block or 2 in between. We've just gotten lucky, I suppose, that none of them have been struck by lightning so far. We might have to make some changes overall to kind of protect our villagers. You know what? I give up. The church is stumping me for now. We'll finish it later. We'll get some inspiration later. Let's just go ahead and use these clerics for what we initially wanted to use them for. And actually, there's only one guy with a trade, and it's this Ender Pearl trade. As many as he will give us. Well, but I think we have a few more stored upstairs still. Yep, here they are. So that's 21 Ender Pearls, which should be more than enough for what we need. And where did I put those blaze rods we found earlier? Ah, here, okay. We can use those to make blaze powder. Yeah, let's just convert all to blaze powder. And then we can make Eye of Enders, and we'll make many as they'll let us. We have 20 Eye of Enders, and we need them to go find the stronghold. We can fight the Ender Dragon in the end. So there's one more thing we need to do before starting off our adventure, and that's going to be make some Ender chests. We need to make some Ender chests and stock them with all the goodies we're going to need to go fight the Ender Dragon. We need to put this somewhere. No, let's just drop it here for now. And then we'll keep one on us. And yeah, we need to put stuff in there like food. Might be good. And light sources. Guess that's going to be lanterns for us. Yeah, and any other valuables, arrows. Bring our bow in there. Maybe a totem or 2. Oh, and a bed, of course. Just all the things we're going to need. That way we can have access to them wherever we are. And you know what? We're going to have to wrap it up there for the day. It feels a little awkward to have this half-finished church in the background and these Eyes of Ender we haven't used yet. All these vulnerable villagers everywhere. But that's really all we have time for today, so until the next one.